Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sessions Cafe, brought to you by Entrigue magazine. I'm your host, Keri D. Singleton, and today we welcome James Watson to the show. How are you, boss?
I'm good, I'm good.
It's good to see you.
It's been a long time.
2015 is when we met, 10 years ago.
It's been 10 years?
It's been 10 years.
That's crazy.
10 years. And we're going to talk about where we met, but it's been a whole decade.
Oh, yeah.
So it's been interesting. Anyway, director, actor, writer, and producer. When I did my research on you before doing the show today, I did not realize that you wore, Jay, so many hats. Because again, we've known each other for a while.
Yes, sir.
And I want to ask, which was your first love out of all of those hats that you wear?
I say writing.
Okay.
That was always my first love, but I didn't know how to get into it. You know, and my mom always said I had a big head, so I had to wear a lot of hats. So it makes sense.
Okay. And so writing was your first love. What are some of the things that you like to write?
Everything.
Scripts,
novels, but right now my main focus is on scripts.
Okay.
You know, at first I tried to do rap songs, but it wasn't good.
Yeah,
it wasn't good at all. So my mom told me to give up on that dream.
Right.
So I love writing scripts, like from romantic comedies, you know, horror films.
Okay.
All types.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm a writer. I've authored 2 books, 2 novels, and a poetry book, but never could grasp the skill of writing scripts. It's very different.
Way different.
Right? And so what inspires you to write the scripts that you write about, that you have written about, I should say?
I say my family. My family, you know, they definitely inspired me a lot, just because like we tell stories, you know. Ever since I was younger, growing up in Newark, New Jersey, I heard stories from like my mom and my dad. Like they always knew how to tell a story. So I was like, I want to be like that. I want to be able to tell my story to everybody, but I didn't know how. I couldn't just say it. I could just write it. And then ever since I started writing, like picking up a pen, you know, mind you, it was horrible. But as I kept going and I kept evolving, more people was like, oh, wow, I love your writing. And I love that the fact that you talk about where you're from, or you talk about things you went through, because then somebody else could relate to that.
So first of all, there's no such thing as bad writing. In terms of evolution, I was 9 years old when I wrote my first poem, and it appeared in the Boston Herald. It was called Boo and Simon Sue. It was a horror flick about a horror poem about a ghost running through the hood in Boston. I was 9, but it was published in the Boston Herald, and that was when my love for writing began. And X amount of years later, you know, award-winning novels and this, that, and the third. So I don't really believe that there's such thing as a bad writing when you're a child.
Well, I spelled my name wrong, so
that could be a problem.
Yeah,
that could be a problem. On a more serious side, though, so you are from Newark.
Yes, sir.
Newark is an interesting town, famous for so many things and so many great people. But it definitely is a gritty town with a lot of 1,000 stories. What is your Newark story?
My Newark story. So a lot of people don't know this, but my dad, he's a cop, a retired Newark police officer. My uncle is a retired Newark police officer, and they wanted somebody to live on Central Avenue inside the graveyard, because they wanted somebody to live inside the cemetery to protect the neighborhood. So at the time, there was an office like that.
The cemetery, is that a nickname for a neighborhood?
No, like
where
literally
deceased people are buried.
Yeah, like Fairmount Cemetery in Newark, New Jersey.
Okay.
There's an office that's inside the cemetery.
Okay.
And there's an apartment that's on top. Now I don't know why they made an apartment on top of the office, but they made one. So they said, hey, do you guys, you know, since you're a police officer, you know, we don't really have too many cops that live in the city of Newark. Do you want this apartment? And it was cheap at the time.
I bet.
Oh, very cheap. Low crime rate too.
Yeah, everybody's.
So my dad and my mom, they moved to that apartment in '93. So we moved from Avon Ave to Fairmount Cemetery, and I grew up inside the cemetery. So that's something that a lot of people don't know.
Sorry if I seem to be a little moved, but I wasn't prepared to hear that you grew up around a whole bunch of dead people.
Yes, yeah.
So, James, what did your friends in the neighborhood think? Like, you didn't have a lot of friends coming to visit you.
Oh, no, absolutely
No
not.
sleepovers.
No sleepovers.
No birthday parties.
I did have one sleepover, and he had nightmares, so I had to go to his house.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you say that you grew up in New York and in the bottom, you really mean it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay.
But I never experienced any like supernatural.
Yeah, well, you were well protected, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow. I asked this man what was his Newark story, and he said, "Well, I grew up living around deceased people." Okay.
Yeah. I learned how to drive inside the cemetery. So.
Right. Okay. At any rate, sir, fast forwarding to 2000, I was not prepared for this, you guys. Fast forwarding to 2015, you and I met Alve Alexander, a beautiful sister who I adore, a really, really great screenwriter, a great filmer, screenwriter. She's a playwright.
Yes.
An actress, a model, a clothing designer. She wears a lot of hats just like you do. She asked me if she could basically take the rights of one of my books, my first book, and turn it into a Broadway play, an on-Broadway play. Not an off-Broadway play, but an on-Broadway play. And that book was called The Wanderer's Game, which ironically, the lead character's name was Reggie Watson, and your name is James Watson. Maybe y'all are related. I don't know. He was from Asbury Park, and you're from, I don't know.
I went to school by Asbury Park.
Maybe y'all are related.
We could be.
Yeah.
We could be cousins.
Yeah, it's fiction. Didn't exist. But anyway, you were cast to play not one, but two different characters in that one stage play.
Yes, sir.
First of all, did you audition? Because I
Yes.
was only allowed, by the way, Alve said I'm allowed to come to one casting call, one rehearsal, and the last rehearsal. Nothing in between. I could not be around the actors. I was going to influence them or intimidate them. She said whatever. So I didn't really get to watch the whole process of you guys putting the play together. But did you audition for two parts?
So I auditioned for 3 parts.
Oh, wow.
So I auditioned for the main character, Watson.
Reggie Watson.
And I also auditioned for the lawyer.
Okay.
And the brother.
Okay.
And, I was nervous. That was my first play.
Wow.
That was my first ever play.
Okay.
So when I came into the audition, I saw the sides. And I was just so nervous. I was like, oh my God, like, it's my name, Watson. I got to get this role.
Right.
And I remember going in. Thank God you wasn't there because I would have been extra nervous.
Yeah.
But I remember, looking at the casting director and I was just like shaking. And it was just like, okay, so what role are you reading for? And I was like, James Watson. And I was like, why would I say that? I said my name.
That's your name.
I said my name.
Right,
and I was like, no,
Reggie
Watson.
Right.
And it was like, okay, the floor is all yours. And I'm just like looking around and I was so green. Like when I was nervous, I was nervous.
Wow.
So I just did the best I can. And, they asked me if I could do it again. Then they asked me if I could read for this part. And when they ask you to read for another part, that's actually a good thing.
Okay.
Because
why is that?
Because they want to see what else you can bring, and they see something within you.
Versatility.
Yeah,
Okay.
they see like, okay, he could do more than just this character. He could do this, he could do that.
Right.
So at first I was like extra nervous. So I was like, oh, they definitely don't like me. They want me to read this part now. Now they want me to read this part. Maybe they're just like, oh, he's terrible.
Right.
That's the first thing that went through my
Right.
mind. But when I performed, I was just like, yep, I'm done. They're not going to call me back. And she called me the next day.
But at what point did Alve tell you that you were going to be featured in multiple roles, though?
Oh, when I got to the rehearsals.
Okay.
She told me, she was just like, you're going to play the brother and you're going to play the lawyer.
Wow.
And at first I thought I was just going to play the brother. But when she said the lawyer, I was like, oh, crap. Do I need to study like law?
Right,
That's how green
right,
I was. I was so
right.
nervous. But she goes, don't worry, you're going to be in good hands. I got you, and I'm going to work with you.
So the next time that I saw you would have been, there was a casting party.
Yes.
Which was phenomenal. My mom came,
great
and
party.
we had a really good time that night. Shout out to everybody that put that together. William Michael Reed, my publicist at the time, did a phenomenal job of putting that together. It was an opportunity for the cast of the play and the crew to meet each other, to meet the press.
Yeah.
You also came on my radio show.
Yes, I did.
Back then. So opening night. I'm there, my mom is there, my cousins are there, everybody was sold out, no seats. a great night for me watching a book that I wrote become a Broadway play. But what was it like for you, James, your very first time on stage on Broadway?
It was great. It was unreal. I don't know how to explain it, because my parents were there, you know, my girlfriend was there, and I was just like, oh my God, like I better show up.
Yeah.
And plus you had like a lot of press there,
yeah.
which I was like, oh my God, do they know it's my first time? So I remember like the night before, you know, I was getting interviewed by so many people,
yeah.
and I was just like, oh gosh, like I'm extra nervous. But once I got on that stage, everything went away.
Yeah.
Like it just felt so good, like I was already in character.
Well,
know?
I've never had an opportunity to tell you this directly, but you killed it.
Thank you.
You killed it. My mother, who was a huge fan of my book, not because I'm her son, but because she liked the book. Obviously, she read the book when it came out, and you were one of the characters that she said really, really did the story justice.
Oh, thank you.
And that's coming from my mom,
wow,
not me.
That's
so
big.
You did a good job, man. And I never forgot the fact that, you know, you really, really brought not one but two of my characters to light, and I have to thank you for that, man. So kudos to you. But that's not where your story ends. And I can't say the full name of your show on my show, Adventures of F-Boys.
Yes, sir.
We know what F-Boys stands for. We know what the F stands for, but I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Before we talk about the actual show, what is an F-Boy?
An F-boy is somebody that has a bad rap.
Okay.
You know, F-boy is somebody that doesn't take things serious.
I wonder if I'm an F-boy.
You know, I was inspired, you know.
Yeah, right. But go ahead.
F-boy is somebody that like people don't take serious, especially girls.
Okay.
So like growing up, I used to talk to like, you know, some girls, you know, back in the day, and they used to always say like, I don't take you serious because I don't see myself in a relationship with you.
Oh, I'm not an F-boy then. I'm not. I'm telling you.
Okay.
No.
So they used to say like, you're an F-boy. And that always stuck with me. It was like, damn, why they don't take me serious? So the name came to me when I was on a train on a Long Island Railroad. And I was like, The Adventures of F-Boys. And I was like, that has a nice ring to it. I was like, Adventures of F-Boys. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to make a show called The Adventures of F-Boys.
And how long has that show been on air now? It's been a minute.
Yeah, so it came out in 2019.
Okay.
And then, you know, during 2020 when the world went through its changes.
Yeah, yeah.
And season 2 we just shot, and yeah, that's out now. So
interesting.
It's been out for a minute.
I know,
Yeah.
and I've watched a couple of episodes and it's hilarious. Listen, when we come back from our break, we're going to talk more about the adventures of F-Boys and more about the adventures of James Watson when we come back. All right?
Yes, sir.
You got the gig here.
White man's army.
You work for Daddy.
I don't know who Daddy is. I don't know who your mommy is, okay?
What you say? Say it again.
I said I don't care about your mom. I don't care who your mom is.
You know who the fuck I am?
Yeah,
You know who the
give a
fuck
fuck
I am?
who you are.
You know
I
who
don't. Hey, Dr. John.
Yeah, fucking call
Hey,
the cops.
hey,
I got
Dr.
one
John.
for all you
Hey,
they talking
hey.
about.
You sure about this?
Yeah. We don't have a choice.
Hi, man. Butler.
And we're back here on Sessions Cafe TV show with James Watson, a.k.a. Newark's F-Boy. Good to meet you. Straight from the cemetery. So, quick question before we go back into your signature show. I'm going to ask you a versus here. Television versus film versus theater.
Ooh.
In your opinion, what are your favorites and least favorites, or what do you like better than the other, that type of thing?
They varies like up and down sometimes. So some days I love theater because they give you the time to prep.
Okay.
You know, and get to know your castmates and the role and the character. Film, go nonstop. So I love film. I love film in a way where you get to see it and it becomes magic, like movie magic. You know, where like the lights is on you, the camera's on you, and then you could prep and, you know, but you're cheating a lot. You know what I mean? Where you're talking like we're talking, but you know we got to cut this scene out.
Gotcha,
you know, then we gotta go over here, shoot 20 seconds here, 30, and it's a lot of waiting in film. TV is like you're waiting nonstop. But you know, I have love for all three.
So now listen, you've done the Adventures of F Boys. Again, we're gonna come back to that in more detail. You've done Law and Order.
Yes, sir.
Special Victims Unit. And you've also done the Wanderers game. I mean, you've done other things, but we're gonna take the Wanderers game stage play, the Adventures of F Boys, and the Law and Order. We're gonna take those three into context. Compare them. What was the difference in being on set with Law and Order versus being on set with the Adventures of F Boys versus having to rehearse with Alvey and some 20 other actors for the Wanderers game stage play?
So with the Wanderers, I was extra nervous because I was like the new kid on the block, and I wanted to impress everybody. I didn't want to make any mistakes. So with Cora, she allowed me to be myself.
Alvey?
Yeah, Alvey, and Cora too.
Right.
They allowed me to be myself. When it was just like, just relax, just breathe. You know, you got this. You know, and plus, you know, rehearsal, where I got comfortable in that character's skin. Now in Law and Order, it's a different ball game, different animal. You can't improv. You know, you got to stay still. You got to hit your mark. You know, it was so many times where I said my line where I was like, "Hey," but I was like, "Hey, you." Instead, I say, "Hey, no, you have to say you."
So it's very specific.
Very specific.
Right.
Like
no room for
nothing, and everything has to go in a fast pace.
Wow.
So you have to talk fast because you don't have enough time when it comes on TV.
Right.
So it's like if we're having a conversation, it could go smoothly, but it has to go. You got to pick it up. Yeah.
Right.
So that was really nerve-wracking for me. For F Boys, it was more relaxed because I felt like I was more in control.
Got you.
You know, and plus, the only thing I would say that was difficult was like working with other actors, where it's like, okay, I want to direct them into the right position, into the, you know, make them look good.
Right.
But also, is, you know, how can I, you know, make their character come out the way I see it? You know what I mean? So it was like putting on a different hat that wasn't, you know, per se like acting. Like I wasn't acting. I had to like act with somebody, but I had to tell them how to do it.
Right.
You know, so that was kind of like hard and, you know, scary.
So three very different experiences with those three very different projects.
Yeah.
Interesting. So going back to Adventures of F Boys, how did you cast the characters, and what is your character?
So my character is Willie Denzelli.
Willie Denzelli.
Willie Denzelli.
Okay.
So Willie Denzelli, he's like if you mix Will Smith and Denzel Washington, you put them together, you got Willie Denzelli.
Okay.
And Tarzan, I casted him because we did a movie together.
Who?
Tarzan. Elijah. His name is Elijah Bazar, the actor. But I named him.
But his character is Tarzan.
His character's name is Tarzan.
Okay.
Because I was helping him out with an audition tape, and he just had long hair at the time.
Got you.
And he just started doing the flex, and I was just like, oh, that's Tarzan. And we made a skit, and once we made that skit and put it out on YouTube and Instagram, people was like, oh, you guys look like clowns. And I was just like, F Boys.
Yes.
So
that's exactly what you wanted.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I put 2 and 2 together, like the clown F Boys, put them together, the Adventures of F Boys.
And I watched it. It's hilarious, mother. And was it your brainchild?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was the first thing I started out with.
Okay.
So my girlfriend was just like, what do you want to start off with? You want to do drama, horror, or comedy? Pick one. And I was just like, comedy. Because it was the cheapest thing to film.
Okay.
Because when you're making a film, obviously it costs money, it costs a lot of time, crew. Right. So I was like, what can I film that's going to cost like maybe $1,000?
Right.
Where I could just shoot on an iPhone.
Okay.
And I don't need that many characters, and I can make it look cheap on purpose. So I was just like, okay, handheld, fake reality show.
Right.
That's when the idea came. And I was like, I'm going to shoot a fake reality show. And it's going to look bad on purpose.
Right.
But then when people watch it, they're going to be like, oh, it looks good. So.
Getting back to Newark, how did growing up in Newark groom you for your career?
Toughness. You know, I went to private school.
Okay.
And then I went to a Montessori school. And then I went to a juvenile school. So the juvenile school came when my mom, she knew her best friend was a principal at the Renaissance. Now the Renaissance, if you guys don't know, that's a juvenile school for a second chance.
Okay.
So my mom was like, do you want to go to this Renaissance school, which is like probably like 15, 25 people, it's like a private school, or do you want to go to regular public school? Me at the time, I was like, I'll go to Renaissance. Sounds like a cool name. Yeah, no. Kid from private school going to a juvenile school, totally different.
Wow.
But it prepared me to think on my feet in a way, where somebody just like look at you and they was like, oh, you talk funny, you talk like this, or, you know, they start making fun of you. You gotta be able to think on your feet. You know what I mean? So
and turn it around.
Exactly.
Got you.
And I met my best friend from there, and I had like so many good memories from that school.
So let's jump back. I know I'm jumping back and forth here. How did you land the Law and Order gig, and what was that like being on set with all those celebrated actors?
Oof. My agent. So my agent called me and she was like, hey, you have an audition for a Law and Order. And I was like, okay, dead body 1 or 2? And she was like, no, a cop. I'm like, oh, okay. No, a detective. I was like, okay. And I made a joke, handsome detective.
Wow.
And she didn't find that funny. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm not a handsome detective. So when I got the audition, I just did it like a regular audition. I just did my thing, and I probably did like 4 or 5 takes, and I just sent it out, because as an actor, you don't want to get too attached.
That's right.
To something you don't have.
Right, exactly.
You know? So I read the script, broke it down. Okay, I'm going to do my best. If they want me, they want me. If not, I just got to keep it going.
And your previous acting experience obviously helped you to prepare for that role.
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed.
How so?
So coming from doing The Wanderers, I didn't really know how to break down a script.
Okay.
So I would just read my lines and just be like, okay. But other actors that was part of that project, you know, they would come up to me and they're just like, no, this is how you break down a script. You know, and then going to acting classes and acting school, they taught me how to really break down a script. So now whenever I get a script, I know how to break it down. Where I'm just like, okay, my character want this. Okay, what is my character doing? What do my character want?
Right.
You know, what's around, what's in the scene, and all that stuff.
What is your character who is your character in relationship to other characters?
Yeah.
Right, that's important.
So that was like the most important thing. So when I got the Law and Order, it just taught me like, okay, I know how to think on my feet, I know how to improv, but then I also know what my character want.
Right.
So it probably took me like 3-4 hours to prepare, and then after that, I just.
And when you got the call that you got the role,
Ooh, I was on my way to eat sushi.
Wow.
I was on my way to eat sushi. I got an email. I didn't even get a call. I got an email, and it was just like, congratulations. Now, when you get an email, you think, okay, it's a callback.
Right.
But I kept reading it, and it was just like, congratulations, welcome to the team.
Ooh.
You know, we're going to have somebody call you the following morning, but we want your height, we want your weight, we want all your information. You know, we want your credit line and stuff like that. They didn't want my credit line. Right. I wouldn't have got the role if they wanted my credit line. But they wanted all my information, and I just remember being sick at the time. I had a cold. Oh, wow. And I was going to eat sushi being sick. Isn't that crazy? And I celebrated with my family. I cried. I was just like, oh my God, wow, I made it. Like,
that is amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You have an upcoming film project coming up. You have an upcoming film project called What to Wear.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
So What to Wear is a project that I came up with when I was on my way to the West Coast, and I was thinking of like, what can I shoot that could take place in one location? So I was thinking about, like, you know, the memory I have of my girl. You know, like, what's the one thing I take for granted is when she goes to the mall and I gotta wait for her. You know, she always want to pick out different dresses. So so that came into my head, and the name came up was What to Wear, where it's about this guy. He's losing his memory, but, you know, his memory is still with the loss of his wife.
Oh, wow.
So he's always going up in the bedroom, always waiting for her.
Right.
But she's already passed on.
Right.
And while he's waiting for her, his family's waiting for him. So that's when I came up with the idea when I was like on a plane and I wrote it. It was like a short film.
Okay.
And yeah, it's coming out, you know, this year. So.
Soon, 2025.
2025.
Wow, man. And that's got to be exciting because now you're stepping out of your comfort zone of being an actor into the role of being a director and a writer and a producer.
My first drama that I wrote and directed. My first drama film.
So man, I can't wait to check it out, man. So I have an interesting question.
Yeah.
If you could create an Actors Hall of Fame with 4 actors, who would make James Watson's Actors Hall of Fame? Let's make it a little more interesting.
Okay.
Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
Of your favorite actors.
Ooh. Got it. Definitely Denzel.
Okay.
Obviously, he's the GOAT. You know, I gotta give love to Queen Latifah.
Absolutely.
You know, I gotta give love to her.
Yeah.
All right, I might lose points. Mark Wahlberg.
Okay.
I love Marky
he's an
Mark.
Awesome actor.
Yeah, I love his
awesome
movies.
actor.
Love his movies, and I would have to say Adam Sandler.
Okay.
You know?
That's a well-rounded mountain.
Yeah.
Right there.
And climbing the mountain is like Marlon Wayans.
Yeah.
I like Marlon Wayans.
Yeah, I give you credit for Latifah because I mean, although so many people celebrate her music and even her acting, I don't think she gets celebrated enough because she's done so much as an actress.
Oh yeah.
And I salute you for including Dana Owens into that realm. That's dope. Directors Hall of Fame. Your director's Mount Rushmore.
Oh, I love this. Spike Lee. He just say it how it is.
Right.
He's like unapologetic. Yeah. I love Spike Lee. He from Do the Right Thing, you know, Girl 6.
School Days.
Yes. School Days.
Yeah.
He's just a man. He's just a man. Spike Lee. My favorite is John Singleton. I love John Singleton. Rest in peace.
Yes.
You know, he did Four Brothers, one of my favorite movies.
I think I've heard of him. Maybe Poetic Justice.
Poetic Justice.
No, I'm kidding. Of course, I love that brother.
Poetic Justice.
Yeah.
A little small movie. I don't know if you heard of it. Boys in the Hood.
Just maybe I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
He was 24 years old when he did that.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And amazing guy. Who else?
So John Singleton, Spike Lee. Who else? Who else? That's a good question. Okay. DJ Pooh.
Okay.
I love DJ Pooh. Friday. He wrote Friday and he did the car wash, The Wash with Snoop Dogg.
And last but not least,
you, of course.
I'm not a movie director. You would not want a film by me. It would star Janet Jackson. It would be directed by Janet Jackson. It would be produced by Janet Jackson. The movie soundtrack would be by
Janet Jackson.
Yes, right, exactly.
I was gonna say Tito, but
rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Reality TV versus sitcoms.
Oh, Ben Affleck, my last one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Reality TV versus sitcoms.
Sitcoms.
Okay. Your favorite films?
Boys in the Hood, Four Brothers, The Warriors.
Okay.
And and Riding in Cars with Boys is one of my favorite films.
What's next for James Watson? I was really tempted to say Reggie Watson.
Yeah.
The lead character from my first novel.
I love that.
I wasn't. I have cue cards. It's what's next for James Watson?
So What to Wear, we're going to be premiering it 2025.
Okay. And then is that going to be at film festivals?
Film festivals.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
film festivals around the country.
Excellent. Okay.
Also, I wrote a feature film called Ayo Pause.
Okay.
Ayo Pause is about a young man who he goes on his journey to, lose his virginity. Now,
a journey to lose his virginity.
Yeah, to lose his virginity.
Okay.
And he carries his condom that's getting ready to expire. And he has to use it before it expires because his late brother gave him that condom before he died.
Okay.
So it's a comedy.
I was hoping so because I'm like, if I laugh and it's not a comedy, that's distasteful.
Okay, that's so messed up.
So he's running out of time.
He's running out of time.
He has to beat the clock before the condom expires.
Yeah, so it talks about like safe sex and also like the pressure of sex, you know, and also how important if our parents like get in our lives to talk about sex, because if they don't talk to us about sex, the street is.
Right.
So he
Exactly.
starts, so it's like kind of like the Wizard of Oz. He starts meeting characters along his journey. And just like the story of Rapunzel, where she's up in the castle, this woman, she lives in a project, so he's going somewhere that's unfamiliar. So
Okay.
yeah, it's called Ayo Pause.
The Wizard of Oz of sex.
Yeah.
So I guess when he gets down the yellow brick road,
It goes from there.
this. We're in our 5th season, James, and this is probably the most hilarious episode I've ever done. I'd be laughing more, but this is supposed to be a serious show.
Yeah.
And so, but as soon as these cameras are turned off, I'm going to fall out laughing. Thank you very much.
I love you.
Yeah, I love you too, brother. Let everybody know how they can watch Adventures of F-Boys, and let them also know what film festivals they'll be able to see the film at.
Absolutely. So Adventures of F Boys is on YouTube, and it's going to be on my IG at GoJamesCWatson, not .com, but GoJamesCWatson at Instagram.
Okay.
And you guys could catch what to wear out in film festivals. It hasn't been announced yet,
Okay.
but I'm going to update it on my Instagram.
On your Instagram.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Excellent. I'll be watching.
Yeah.
I'll be waiting, and I definitely will be in somebody's seat somewhere watching, because I know it's going to be dope if you put it together with all the charisma that you have and all of the stories that you have and all of the creativity that you have. I just know it's going to be. I know it's going to be as dope as your very first performance on that stage back in 2015 when I met you.
Also, one thing, thank you for using my chest. I really appreciate it.
Oh, is that your chest?
Yeah,
Really?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No?
Yeah. One can dream.
Oh, I thought it was me.
No, it's not you.
It's not me.
Anyway, until next time, you guys, I'm going to chop it up with my boy James. Maybe I'm going to go out to Newark, get some Ambassador chicken, and have a good laugh. But until then, I'll see you guys next week.